One thing that nefarious game publisher Electronic Arts has failed to understand over the last few years is the importance of consumer goodwill. They've been able to get away with many of their monetization schemes at the expense of consumers relatively unhampered for years, and it wasn't until Star Wars Battlefront 2 that the pot finally boiled over. In response to the mass backlash against that game, the company promised that they have learned their lesson and that they would do better moving forward, but 2018 has proven that these were empty words. Egregious microtransactions and loot boxes continue to flow through EA's most financially lucrative titles, namely FIFA 19 and their various mobile games, and they're so keen on nickel and diming players through glorified gambling that they're willing to take Belgium to court in defiance of their gambling regulations and consumer protection laws. And then there is Battlefield 5, a game that had all the makings of a successful project before EA butchered its marketing and released what ultimately turned out to be a lackluster package. The result was that the game woefully undersold from what the publisher had anticipated, and it's caused a ripple effect of financial woes for the gaming giant. To give us a broad picture of how this game has performed is an article published by website Seeking Alpha on December 19th, 2018, with a headline that reads, quote, "Electronic Arts expect additional estimate reductions as Battlefield 5 sales disappoint." Disappointing sales for the title shouldn't come as much of a big surprise, as early pre-order figures were pretty indicative of an entry that would fail to garner the same level of commercial success as past entries. The result is that this has led EA to revise their earnings projections for fiscal year 2019. According to Seeking Alpha's article, outlook was lowered from $5.55 billion to $5.2 billion, so by about $350 million. Now, in the grand scheme of things, this may not seem like a big difference for onlookers. I mean, $350 million seems like chump change when they're still expecting to earn $5.2 billion, right? But what you have to understand is that the lifeblood of corporations like EA is stock value and investors. And what investors look for in a company is signs of year-on-year growth so that the money they put into the company will increase in value. If there are any signs of EA's earnings projections faltering or even stabilizing rather than showing signs of tangible growth, it will spook investors off and cause the company's stock value to decrease, and seeing a downwards trend, other stockholders will be tempted to pull out as well, and it becomes this vicious cycle. And from the looks of it, Battlefield 5's poor sales has been detrimental enough to the company's revenue projections to scare away a significant number of investors. As the article put it, quote, "Since peaking in July, shares of Electronic Arts have fallen over 45% and set a fresh 52-week low on Monday. Though the broader technology market has suffered in recent months, EA's outsized declines are caused by concerns over unit sales of the company's tentpole Battlefield franchise. Indeed, one look at EA's current stock figures will reveal a huge dip starting from July 2018, and currently EA stocks are the lowest they have been in 2 years. In just a few months, the company's stocks have dipped at a rate and scale that's plain and simply unprecedented for the publisher. From its highest peak in July 2018 to its lowest valley in December 2018, according to my calculations, the company has lost almost $21 billion in stock value, which I don't have to tell you is no paltry sum. Now, Battlefield 5 officially launched on November 9th, which is a few months after stocks began to dip drastically, but signs that the game would not meet sales expectations could be spotted early on. As the article aptly pointed out, optics against Battlefield 5 suffered early due to backlash resulting from a blatant injection of politics that paved the road to a bizarre and inauthentic portrayal of World War II as seen in the game's announcement trailer. And then during E3 2018, former chief design officer of EA Patrick Soderlund made a comment generalizing those critical of Battlefield 5's direction as uneducated, while telling them to either accept it or don't buy the game. But one pivotal moment for concerned investors was when EA announced at the end of August that Battlefield 5 would be delayed by a month from October to November. This came shortly after an article from CNBC reported that Battlefield 5's pre-order sales were behind competitor Call of Duty Black Ops 4 by as much as 85%. It didn't take a genius to read between the lines. The delay, coupled with poor pre-order sales, suggested Battlefield 5 was falling way behind titles such as Black Ops 4 and Red Dead Redemption 2, which held their ground despite the tough competition competition they faced throughout October. Battlefield 5 then finally launched throughout November, with access staggered based on whether you subscribed to Origin Access Premier and which edition of the game you ordered. Generally, players were disappointed to find that the single-player campaign was quite limited and that the primary focus, multiplayer, noticeably lacked content and modes, giving off the sense that the game was released in a state that felt unfinished and half-baked. Investors were disappointed to find that initial physical sales in the UK for Battlefield 5 were drastically lower than those of Battlefield 1, and while part of that can be attributed to the rising trend of digital sales, the disparity was too wide for this to not be indication of overall waning sales. Another sign that indicated poor sales was the fact that, as Seeking Alpha's article pointed out, Battlefield 5 was discounted much quicker and on a grander scale than usual, and it continues to stay on sale. Indeed, if you go to GameStop right now and check out listings for Battlefield 5, you'll see that the game has been discounted by 50% across the board, and some retailers have apparently gone as far as slashing the game's price to be 33% of the initial cost. That plain and simply wouldn't be normal if the game were actually selling well or even selling decently. Something else that Seeking Alpha pointed out was that Battlefield 5's Twitch viewership has generally been lower compared to the competition. Fortnite having more Twitch viewership than the other three games combined comes as no surprise. But Black Ops 4 having been viewed 22.5 million hours over 30 days compared to Battlefield 5's 6.3 million is pretty telling of a stark difference in sales figures and engagement. Granted, Red Dead Redemption 2 has relatively lower viewership despite massive sales, but keep in mind that the title is primarily a single-player experience, with online only just starting to trickle in. So lower Twitch viewership numbers for this particular title are to be expected. Now, one piece of important data that Seeking Alpha's article doesn't mention is US sales figures released for the month of November, which reveals that Battlefield 5 only placed third. While third may not seem like such a bad place to be, keep in mind that both second and first place titles were released a month prior in October. To be fair, Red Dead Redemption 2 was released in late October, so one could argue it is within range of competing with Battlefield 5, but Black Ops 4 was released a solid month before Battlefield 5. So the fact that we're seeing Black Ops 4, a game that was released in October, beating Battlefield 5 sales during its own November launch month is pretty telling of just how far behind Battlefield 5 is lagging. And hell, Fallout 76 did even worse, and the only reason Pokemon isn't higher up on the list is because Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee are being counted separately. Offering even more clarity is year-to-date data, which accounts for sales figures from January 2018 to present day. Notice how titles like Black Ops 4 and Red Dead Redemption 2, despite the short time that's elapsed since their launch, are all the way in the top 2, whereas Battlefield 5 is nowhere to be found on this list. It might have sold enough copies to make it to the top 10 list of its launch month of November, but its lifetime sales still don't come close to some of these more prominent titles. To make a long story short, things are looking pretty bleak for Battlefield 5's prospects, and it's scaring away EA's real customers, the investors. Even without the latest sales figures, Seeking Alpha's article provided a less than stellar outlook for the bleeding company. It's worth noting that Seeking Alpha is a website that primarily focuses on news related to stocks and businesses, with their primary audience being investors, so part of what they do is provide recommendations for companies worth investing in. As far as EA is concerned, here's the conclusion that they provided. Since August, analysts have reduced fiscal third quarter 2019 revenue expectations from an average of over $2.2 billion to under $1.8 billion. As discussed above, company guidance for the entire year was reduced $350 million to account for exchange rates, lower mobile expectations, and the pushback of the Battlefield 5 launch. While analysts are factoring additional declines due to slower sales for EA's key holiday franchise, they're likely underestimating the shortfall versus the 13 million unit forecast. Additionally, Battlefield 5 is not aggressively monetized with in-game content and is already selling at a discount. Lastly, when comparing net bookings from the year-ago quarter, also note note, this year's slate of smaller titles is weaker. As hard sales data comes forward in January, look for additional downward revenue revisions from analysts and corresponding pressure on the stock price. In other words, Seeking Alpha believes that despite projections having already been lowered drastically throughout the months leading up to Battlefield 5's launch, the game will do even worse than what current conservative forecasts may suggest. Taking everything into account, the article is essentially telling investors to expect even worse results, warning to look for additional downward revenue revisions from analysts. It would seem as though EA didn't expect their PR blunders and their disregard for quality with Battlefield 5 to affect the game sales this badly, but I guess that's to be expected from a company that's been underestimating community goodwill for ages now. While tough competition throughout October has a part to play in these less than ideal financial results, I would say Battlefield 5's undesirable direction, EA's poorly conceived responses, the lackluster marketing, and the general notoriety the company's built up over the years were primary factors that ultimately led to Battlefield 5's failure and the ongoing financial downfall. So long as EA continues to rely on predatory practices for short-term financial boosts, rather than rely on the virtues of corporate and artistic integrity to bolster their business long-term, they'll keep hemorrhaging loyal customers and interest for their products. The EA brand will become synonymous with products expected to be compromised by shady caveats, rather than with products one can feel safe purchasing, knowing a marvelous experience awaits. These are one man's thoughts and opinions anyway. I'd love to hear what your take is on the latest data regarding Battlefield 5's commercial performance and EA's financial situation in the comments below. With that, I would like to end this news update. Thank you for tuning in. If you enjoy my content and would like to support this channel directly, consider donating on Patreon. And to be further updated on all things gaming news, reviews, and discussions, stay tuned right here on Yong Yeah. I'll see you guys next time. Yong out.
I'm Coyote Peterson, and I'm about to enter the Sting Zone with the Executioner Wasp. Here we go.
Oh! Stop burning! The Executioner is king!
All great journeys eventually find their end. When we are talking about my climb up the renowned Insect Sting Pain Index, it seemed as if this end would never be found. It all began with an onslaught of harvester ants. This series of stings was quickly followed up with my hands being plunged into an even more painful swarm of burning fire ants. Ow! 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 Oh! One would think I had learned my lesson, yet determination drove me onward as I crested past the cow killer and ascended to the towering heights of the tarantula hawk. This alien-looking wasp put me on the ground. Literally. Yet I got back up, dusted myself off, and kept going.
I am lightheaded at the moment, and at this juncture, I think it's safe to say that I've worked my way up the ladder and am ready for the bullet ant challenge.
The end was finally in sight, and it came in the shadow of a giant ant. As I summited the final peak of Sting Mountain, the world watched with clenched fists and gritted teeth as I went forearm to venomous stinger with the notorious bullet ant. Hailed as the most painful sting in the world, I had survived the bullet ant challenge.
Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh!
My mission of climbing this mountain, strewn with agonizing insect stings, had seemingly come to an end. Yet rumors of a more painful sting, that of the warrior wasp, haunted the comments of every video posted on the Brave Wilderness channel. So we filmed the sequel, and truth be told, it wasn't nearly as painfully memorable as the bullet ant.
Ah! Ugh, sharpshooting pain!
Yet much to my dismay, what appeared to be the final chapter in this saga was nothing more than a prelude that led to the moment in time where I encountered the Executioner Wasp.
Mark, you rolling?
Yep.
Come here. Look at this.
What is it?
Look at this. I don't know what it is.
Oh.
They look like giant hornets. They're absolutely enormous. We literally just finished filming the Warrior Wasp episode. We're coming back out of the jungle. We passed by this little kind of overhang that has a swimming pool here. This is huge. This could be a totally new species. I've never seen this species of wasp or hornet or whatever it is before. I think we got to catch one and try to identify it though. What do you think?
Yeah, let's check it out.
Got my net literally in my hand. There's only 2 of them. So the good news is we're not going to get swarmed. I think if I can scare one off the nest, I can scoop it up.
All right.
Should we give it a try?
Let's try it.
All right.
I don't think they're that aggressive. They seem to be holding their ground.
Well, if you were that big, you probably would hold your ground too. And I'm guessing that the sting that comes from that giant has got to be painful.
Should I stand back?
Yeah, you stand back. I'm gonna use the same tactic I used for the warrior wasp. Hold on. Watch up above me there, Mario. Make sure they don't come swarming down at me. Okay, so this is the aquapod. We usually use this underwater. I'm gonna use it to tempt one of them off of the nest, and then just like I did with the warrior wasp, swoop it up. If I run, you run. Got it?
Got it.
There's only 2 of them. Here we go.
Okay.
I'm gonna try to scare this one down. It's just off the edge. It's right on the end of the aquapod. Look at that. Wow, it is massive. Look at that thing. I've got a little capsule right in my bag right here. I am gonna get it inside of the net and then get it into the capsule.
Oh,
It is looking
its
right at
abdomen's
me.
pulsing.
It's not happy. Hold on, let me get it inside the net. Yep, it's not it. There we go. I got it. Yes, got it. Woo! Look at the size of that insect. Wow, that is impressive.
Looks pretty menacing.
Yes, it does. Much more intimidating looking than the warrior wasp. I've never seen this species before, guys, so we are actually going to take it back to base camp and we're gonna have to look this up.
What about its sting? I mean, do we know anything?
I know absolutely nothing, and as far as I can tell, this is not something that is ranked on the insect sting pain index.
Because you've never seen anything like this.
Never before in my life. This is absolutely crazy. Quite possibly a new species.
Whoa.
The eastern mountainous slopes of Costa Rica seem to be a world swarming with stinging insects. And if bullet ants and warrior wasps were not enough, the remote, untamed wilds of this rainforest ecosystem had one more painful sting up their sleeve. With an intimidating specimen safely contained within the viewing capsule, we returned to our jungle base camp and began scouring the internet for an identification to our find. All right, guys, so we have looked up Vespid wasps of Latin America, and I found a great site. And I have found out what this is.
What is
It
it?
is not a new species. It is actually called the executioner wasp. The executioner wasp. Talk
Whoa.
about a horrific name, right?
Man, that sounds like it's something to be considered for the sting index.
Well, when I look at the insect sting pain index, it does not appear that this is on there. Now, there is a warrior wasp, there's the tarantula hawk, the bullet ant, there are some species of paper wasps. This is considered to be the largest paper wasp species in all of the neotropical environments, but it is not on Schmidt's sting pain index. This is crazy.
Maybe this is a better conclusion to the story.
You know, the warrior wasp did not take down the bullet ant. The bullet ant, in my opinion, is still the reigning king of sting, but something like this, with those stripes and that menacing looking face, man, if this had a more powerful sting, that would truly deserve its place on the throne. Don't you think?
Let's think about it.
Let's think about it. The executioner wasp. That name alone is enough to drive fear through anyone that hears it. Hailing as the largest of the neotropical paper wasp species, this insect is a giant. It carries the cryptic moniker in relation to its swift attack and decapitation methods for dismantling helpless caterpillars, which it in turn feeds to its brood of alien-like larvae. Those who have been witness to this massive wasp have wisely kept a safe distance. And while this is not a newly discovered species, when it comes to the powerful punch in its venomous sting, this nightmarish-looking insect has not officially been ranked on the Sting Pain Index. So today, the chapter you have all been waiting for is about to be written. I'll tell you what, if this is more painful than the bullet ant, that is it. I'm doing no more stings after this. Honestly, probably doing no more stings after this regardless. This has to come to an end at some point. But I would not have been able to walk away from Costa Rica having found this wasp and not have been stung by it. So, here we go. Mark has given me the signal. It is time to get stung by the executioner. Here we go. There it is. The executioner, and he is waiting.
Are you sure you want to do this?
Oh yeah, I mean, I built myself up at this point. There is no turning back. Are you guys ready?
I'm ready if you are.
Okay, I'm going to place the capsule inside of the entomology net. There we go. And I'm going to get the wasp out with the forceps. Okay, wasp is in the net. Got it. All right, there we go. I've got it. Perfect hold. And that stinger is absolutely massive. Okay, I'm gonna move the epinephrine pen off to the side here. Let's keep the glass capsule accessible so that I can quickly cover it back up. That is a very large wasp right there. You can see it's completely calmed down at this point. It is just waiting to inflict a sting. Okay, are you ready?
Oh boy. Yep, I'm ready.
I'm Coyote Peterson, and I'm about to enter the sting zone with the Executioner Wasp. Here we go. 1, 2, 3.
Oh my gosh! Oh, that's really bad, really quick. Ah! 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 Oh, right there. Oh, you can see the venom coming right out of my arm right there. You see that? Oh my gosh! Oh, that hurts a lot. Ah! God, it's as bad as a tarantula hawk. Ah! 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 Oh! Right there. Ah!
Tell me what you're feeling. I know it's hard. Oh my gosh, it's bleeding.
Man, the Executioner Wasp packs an unbelievable wallop. Man, the initial impact is definitely just as sharp, if not worse, than a tarantula hawk. Look, you can see the blood underneath the skin right now. My arm is throbbing. It is on fire. It is about... Oh my God, that hurts. Oh, it is burning uncontrollably. Oh, it is definitely as bad as the tarantula hawk. There's no question about it. And it is, without question, sharper than a bullet ant. I think we've got a new king here, folks. It's just a matter of how long is this pain gonna last.
Talk to me about the swelling. Can you feel your...
Hold on. It's getting worse. Stop burning. It's getting worse. You little devil. Oh, the Executioner lives up to its names. Oh my gosh.
You see the blood coming out.
I can't talk. I can't talk. It is so much pain. I'm cut the camera.
Oh my goodness, look at this white spot. Wow. That is the worst reaction you've ever had. Holy cow.
We have a new
Mario.
king of Sting, folks.
Mara, are you seeing this?
He is the king. Oh, I can't feel my arm.
Do I need to be worried here? Are you gonna be able to... Mario, what do you think? Mario.
Oh my God. Oh my arm. Oh my arm. The burning does not stop. That may be the most painful sting I have ever taken. No, let me rephrase that. That is the most painful sting I've ever taken. The bullet ant has been dethroned. The Executioner is king.
Mario, have you ever seen him react like this? You see the white?
Yeah.
Looks like scarring, just like the bullet ant.
Yeah.
There's scarring, but there's blood coming out.
Oh my gosh, my arm is on fire.
So like a Gila monster?
It is a different pain than the bullet ant. This is a searing pain. It is attacking
my blood cells. It is breaking down the membranes around those blood cells, and the cell particles are spilling out into my arm right now, sending firing neurons screaming to my brain right now that you are in a lot of pain. A lot of pain going on right here, guys. A lot of pain.
You out of the woods yet?
It's extremely hard right now. The initial sting and the shock that came from the sting of the executioner was more painful than anything I've experienced before. And I think I said it when I was on the ground over there, that the bullet ant has been dethroned and the new king of sting is the executioner. And I am bending the knee right now to this insect, because not only is its look intimidating, but its sting is the real thing. It is screaming at the moment, screaming, searing pain. So where the warrior wasp felt like pins and needles and the bullet ant felt like somebody taking a hot poker and sticking it into your arm, this is like flesh peeled back. No, I don't know what it feels like to have flesh peeled back, but I can imagine that this is what it is. You see, I can't even like move my hand right now. My whole arm is in such agonizing pain, and it's starting to itch, like right here. Like I could feel the venom working its way up, similar in the sense to how the Gila monster's venom worked, and it is hot to the touch. Mark, just tell them how hot my forearm is right now.
Oh, wow. You can see right here, actually. Mario, can you get a shot of that?
Try to get that. You see this?
There's a residual reaction occurring up your arm. Is it?
Now, in this instance, I do not know if the pain is going to last for more than an hour, more than 5 hours, more than 36 hours, but I can tell you right now that the pain has lasted longer than the tarantula hawk, and at this moment, it is worse than the bullet ant. So, in this immediate presentation, I am declaring the executioner wasp as being the king of sting as it currently stands. All right, guys. I'm just gonna go ahead and give you an outro because I'm starting to have trouble composing my words here.
Yeah, we're concerned, man. You're not out of the woods yet, are you?
No. I'm Coyote Peterson. Be brave. Stay wild. We'll see you on the next adventure. Man, this is intense. The prolonged effects of the executioner's venom lasted for nearly a week, as just a single sting packed enough potency to rot a small crater in my forearm.
This has got to be the longest hike back to base camp I've ever had. Oh, my arm is screaming in pain right now.
The residual pain was followed by persistent itching and ultimately a scar that today I still carry with me as a reminder that this neotropical paper wasp is a foe unlike any I had ever faced.
You still filming?
You don't want to remember this?
The executioner! Oh, my arm is throbbing right now. Drink some water. Oof.
The planet is teeming with more insect species than are known to man, and a fair share of them are armed with venomous stingers. My climb up the insect sting pain index and my destiny to encounter and face the executioner wasp was a journey I could have never predicted. Yet it successfully captured and captivated the minds of millions upon millions of viewers. And while I know you all enjoyed watching me squirm around on the ground in pain, I hope that you also walked away with a new sense of respect and understanding for these fascinating creatures. Without my incredible crew, Justin Schmidt's brilliant sting roadmap, and the wonderful Coyote Pack cheering me on, none of this would have been possible. So thank you all for joining me on this journey. I certainly have enjoyed the ride. Now, to firmly answer your burning question, yes, for me, this really is the end. Is there a more painful sting out there? Crawling across the desert sands or flying through the humid rainforests? Possibly. Probably. but that is a mystery I feel is best left to live on. Crowning the Executioner Wasp as the new king of Sting is as far as I am willing to go. And in my opinion, this truly was one Sting to rule them all.
Hi, I'm Keith. Currently I weigh 407 pounds. It's my fault. I've been slowly killing myself with food. I gave up on life. Well, it's time to get back in the game. My intention with this weekly blog is not only to lose weight, but to get myself back in shape, to go back to Rocky Mountain National Park, to go back to Long's Peak, and take that hike from the bottom to the top. So for me to realistically do this, I have to completely transform my body from where I am now to where I need to be. That's going to be it for today. It's only day one. I have a lot more work before I get to Long's Peak and the 7.5 miles to the top. Day 5. Here we go. Here we are, day 6. This week may have gone well, but I got a lot more work to do. Yes, I want to get to the top of Long's Peak, but realistically speaking, I don't think that's going to happen this year. So this concludes week 2, day 1. We saw a lot of snow shoveling. Unfortunately, not a lot of walking. Okay, first official weigh-in. Well, I'll be damned. Time has improved slightly from yesterday. Oh, this is good. Welcome to week 4. Welcome to week 5. For week 5, day 6. Welcome to week 6. And welcome to week 7. Oh, wow. Well, hey. Still looks like crap bombing. Week 7, day 3. Oh, thank God. I started jogging. I mean, did it hurt? Oh, yeah. Was it exhausting? Most definitely. Do I regret it? Not one bit. 6. Holy shit. Now, it's nice to push yourself, but sometimes pushing yourself too hard will result in very negative effects. I did it! I passed the 100-pound milestone! Yes! High five. We have officially crossed the 300-pound milestone. Welcome back to the 200s. You know, there was a part of me that thought that lap 20 might be a little bit easier because it was the last lap and I'd get that, you know, second, third, whatever you want to call it. No, I was wrong. This freaking hurts. I have set out to hike to the top of Long's Peak, or at least attempt it. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. By the time you see this video, I will already be on the road.
name is Keith, and 6 months ago to the day, I weighed 407 pounds and wasn't doing very well. I decided to take control of my life with the goal of losing weight and hiking to the top of Long's Peak, which I have now just accomplished, thanks to an incredible support system of people.